I'm Dr. Ray Middleton. I help people by delivering great training. Here's an example episode from one of my training courses explaining the Power Threat Meaning Framework. I'm a member of the Power Threat Meaning Framework Committee, and these materials were developed in conjunction with the committee. In addition to any strengths and skills that you might think of in this list under this question, the framework uses the phrase, what access to powerful resources have we got, to help us think more socially about the strengths we may have. This is not an everyday use of language, but they are trying to help us to think about power. So positive power can be accessing helpful things, and people is a positive use of power. We might have access to powerful things that help us. Try not to think only negatively about power. Power can be positive and productive. So sometimes it can be difficult to think positively about ourselves and our strengths. So to help, I'm going to suggest some ideas to help people think of any of these might apply to you. So as I go along, if they do, write them in a list of answers to this question. What are your strengths? The answers are building blocks that can help us to develop our personal narrative. We may describe ourselves and our story of our journey through life differently after reflecting on this list of strengths. Are you or the person you're supporting to reflect on these questions fulfilling any roles in society, such as voluntary work or paid work? That could be a strength that you've got. Or other roles, such as a family role or being a parent or a sibling or a partner. That could be a strength that you've got. Are you part of a campaign group about improving something in society, or a friendship role? Do you have a friend? Do you have a strength or a skill in the way you process emotions? How you handle that, and how you kind of have you got strength in channeling your feelings into something creative, like writing, or creating art, or going for a walk? Or anything we do. Are you developing a hobby or an interest? These are just examples of strengths that you might have. Or are you active in some form of study? That might be a strength, that you're studying something, either formally for a qualification or informally. Or maybe you have the strength of caring for yourself, self-care, or caring for someone else. Are you participating in anything, in any exercises, for example? So if you're exercising, that could be a strength and a skill that you've got. Are you eating healthily? There's a strength. Are you getting enough sleep? There's a strength. Are you accessing therapy, perhaps? No, it's not for everyone, but you might be. That might be a strength. I'm accessing therapy. Or part of a supportive faith community that connects you with other people who share similar beliefs. Or you might be part of a mutual self-help group for recovering from something. Now, these are all strengths and access to powerful resources like a community that you may have. Once we get a bit of help with and prompts about ideas for strengths and skills and access to powerful resources, it can really help to list them. For example, we might have physical resources. These can also be part of someone's strengths, such as how we look, our appearance. We might feel that's a strength. It's not for everyone, but some people might think, well, that's a strength I've got. Our physical health might be a strength, or being good at sport. Remember, no one has all these strengths. They're just lists of strengths and skills and access to powerful resources. For example, I'm completely useless at sport and DIY, but this might be a strength that you have, or the person you're supporting might have. Nobody has them all, but they're just a list of things to help just expand our thinking around this. And it's great to write a list of strengths, skills, and access to powerful resources. We're all different, so these are just a beginning list of ideas. I hope you find them helpful, that people might find strengths within. Do you have skills and talents, such as playing a musical instrument or speaking a foreign language? None of which I can do, but you might have a strength there. Do you have a particular characteristics that are a strength, such as being resourceful, persevering, surviving up to this point in life, and being able to adapt, being a good listener, being compassionate? Do you have access to some knowledge that's useful, and this can be seen as a strength? Perhaps you are able to access the internet. You might be able to access leisure and educational opportunities. These are access to powerful resources. You might be access professional support, housing support, substance misuse services, mutual aid, or access to transport. You might have a car, or you might have a bus pass. These are access to powerful resources, being able to get places. You might have a strength in a supportive partner, a friend, or a family member in your life. You may have a strength from your past in any of these areas that you can hold in mind and build on now that in the past. You might have had a supportive, loving adult in your life when you were growing up, and you can think that's a strength, and they might not be around now, but you think that's something I can tap into, hold in mind, and a strength. Maybe you can read and write. This is not everybody can, but you might be able to. This is a strength. Someone taught you to read and write at some point, and this allows you to access information by reading about it. This helps you to communicate with people because you can kind of text people because if you can write. This is not an exhaustive list, but it should help start to generate some thinking and answers. And the answers to this question, what are your strengths and your skills and your access to powerful resources, can be building blocks to build a better personal narrative of your journey through life. If people integrate their answers into developing a slightly different personal story about themselves in the light of their strengths and skills and access to powerful resources, this can be really helpful. We can include these. We have just looked at what strengths do we have. Next, in the next episode, I'll explain and explore another power threat meaning framework question, which is, what has happened to you in terms of how has power operated in your life? I hope you found that helpful. For more information about the live and recorded training I offer, just email me at ray.middleton@ladderforlife.com and sign up for my free trauma reform course by clicking the link in the description comments. Subscribe for more helpful videos and post a question in the comments and I'll reply.